Hey guys, thanks for clicking on my video. If this is your first time here, welcome to Nails by Naya. And if you have been here before, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a long full set. And these were Halloween nails. I know I'm late, but I'm just not getting around to editing this. So I first start off by pushing back the cuticles. And pushing back the cuticles help push back the skin so you get the dead skin off of the nail plate. And that helps with reducing the lifting of the acrylic. Now I'm going in with my 180 sanding band, and if you guys have watched any of my prior videos, you would know that I go in with a 180 sanding band to get the natural shine off of the nail. And this natural shine is caused by oils that secrete onto the nails. And if you do not get this shine off, I can guarantee you that your nails will either lift the same day or the following day, because the acrylic has nothing to adhere to. So make sure you file off the natural shine if you want your nails to last. Also, you're only gonna see me doing work on this hand, and that is because I did not want this video to be too long, so I didn't include the process of me doing both of her hands. Now I'm going in and sizing up the tips to her natural nail to make sure that the tips actually fit. And the way you find out if the tips fit is by seeing if they fit from sidewall to sidewall. If they do not fit from sidewall to sidewall, then that means the nail does not fit, and you should not use that one because it is too small. And if you have a nail that has a tip that doesn't perfectly fit it, like you have a number 5 that's too small for it, but the number 4 is too big for it, go with the number 4, because you could always file the size of the number 4 and put it onto the natural nail. You cannot do anything to the number 5 to make it get bigger to fit the natural nail. Now I'm going in with my KDS nail glue, and I'm gluing the tips onto the nails. Now I'm going in and cutting the size of the nails to make it easier to achieve the coffin shape that we want. And cutting down the size of the nails just make it easier, well, quicker to get the shape, because you're taking away a lot of the nail that you would have just been sitting there filing at to get the angle and all that. But as you saw, I went in with those scissors, and that's because I thought it was going to be easier to cut the size with the scissors because of how long the nails was, but that didn't work. So I went in with my straight edge nail clipper, and you will want to make sure that it is a straight edge nail clipper, because if you use the regular curved one, you are going to mess up the shape of the nail due to the fact that you are not cutting in a straight line, and you are going to have indents in the nail because of where the curved section is. I hope that makes sense to y'all, because that's the best I can explain it. Now it's time for the filing, and I'm using a 100/180 grit nail file, and I use the 100 side because it is the rougher side and it speeds up the filing process. And I honestly don't really have tips on how to file. I just learned things my way, like just watch videos and see how the person hold the file when they're filing and use that as tips. The only tip I have is to hold your file vertically when you are filing at the tip so you can make sure you get a flat tip. But other than that, I don't really have any pointers to point out or anything. It just take practice. Now I'm going in with the same 180 sanding band, and I am filing where the tip and the natural nail meet, and you are only filing at the tip to thin it down, and it'll make a smoother transition from the natural nail to the tip. You don't have to do this. This is just something I do. The only time you really have to do it is if you're doing a clear nail, because you will be able to see where the natural nail and the tip meet if you didn't do it. So I sprayed alcohol onto a paper towel, and I'm going to wipe at her natural nails. And this is just to dehydrate them. You do not have to dehydrate them if you don't want to, because we already filed off the natural shine from the nails. But I just dehydrate them because I feel more comfortable doing it. I don't know what she was just doing. Ignore that. So now I'm going in with the primer, and you want to make sure to not skip the primer. If you skip the primer, your nails are going to live. Like, you're definitely going to get lifted. They might not come all the way off, but they are going to lift, because the primer helps the acrylic adhere to the natural nail. Now I am going in and placing my beads of acrylic, and you see me placing this bead of acrylic exactly where the tip and the natural nail meet, and I won't do that again on any other nails, because that is not the place I should have been placing the first bead. And honestly, as I say in all of my other videos, I do not have a method that I follow when placing my beads of acrylic. I just place the beads wherever I feel they need to be placed. But I do recommend, if you're a beginner, you should follow a method, because it makes it so much easier to follow a method, knowing exactly where you're supposed to be placing this bead and where the next bead should go and everything. Like, you're never confused as to what you're doing with the nail. So I personally don't have a method as to how I do nails, but I do recommend you find a method. So as I said on the last nail, I did not mean to place that bead right where the natural nail and the tip met. So now I'm placing that bead right there, and you are going to see that with every bead I add onto this ring finger, I place it on top of the first bead I did. Like that first bead I placed right there, and then you saw the second bead, I went a little bit higher as to where I was placing the bead, and I just kept doing that until I met the cuticle. And you of course don't want to place acrylic onto your cuticle, because then you're gonna have to file the acrylic off of the cuticle, and you are definitely going to cut the person whose nails you're doing. I used to do it a lot when I was doing my very first sets of acrylic nails, and it is not fun. You do not want your cuticles cut. So you want to add acrylic. Well, this is what I was doing. I was adding acrylic on top of my prior bead over and over and over. And once you get to the cuticle, you are going to see me use my brush to wipe around the U shape of the cuticle, basically getting any acrylic that could have possibly spilled onto the cuticle off of the cuticle. And then my last bead, well, not my last bead, after I get all the way to the cuticle and wipe around the cuticle and all that, you're going to see me add a bead at the tip, and that is because the tip is very thin. It has no acrylic there, basically. And I need to build up the tip. So that was the method I guess I followed, if you understand what I'm saying. That's the only method I think, well, that's the only rules I had in my head that I tried to follow. Just adding beads of acrylic on top of one another, not on top of one another, higher than one another, and then go back and build a tip. But other than that, I have no method. I just place beads wherever I feel like they need to be placed. And as you can see, I am moving the nail to see where the apex is, to see if the apex is thick enough to make sure that she wouldn't hit her nail and break them. And I'm just saying if the nails have any dips or anything where I need to go add more acrylic and etc. I honestly am not the best at explaining on how I do acrylic nails. I just post videos so everybody could see how a beginner like me do nails, because everybody makes mistakes, and I include my mistakes in the videos, because what's the point in hiding it when I know I'm a beginner, and I know people who's watching this are also beginners. So I'm just showing a beginner side of nails. Back to the 180 nail file. I am going in and shaping up the nails again, because after you add the acrylic, your nails do kind of lose the shape that you have filed the tips into. So you go back and shape them up some more. And I just file them exactly like how I do the tips. You just file at the sides. Make sure you apply pressure at the tips, because you are trying to get it skinnier at the top. And I hold my file vertically when I am filing the tip to make sure that it is flat and not crooked or anything. Oh yeah, and I'm also using my 100 side because it is the rougher side, and that's the side I like to use. So I just do that all over the nails, just, you know, file, trying to get them into the shape that I want. Once I finish filing the sides of the nail to shape it up again, I go in with my fine drill bit, or my middle fine drill bit, to smoothen out the nails and seal around the cuticle. As you can see, I'm using a metal fine drill bit, but there is a ceramic one, and the ceramic one is not as sharp as the metal one. So if you feel more comfortable with the ceramic one, to make sure that you don't cut anyone, I would recommend you use the ceramic one. But I got the metal one, and I filed with the metal one because I bought it, so I might as well use it. I don't really have anything I definitely do. I just file at the nail until I feel like I smoothed it out. I have no bumps, no scratches, and nothing in the nail. I just keep filing until I'm satisfied with the feel of the nail. But tips to file around a cuticle, I file around the cuticle until I can see a little itsy bitty bit of the natural nail. You do not want to file so much around the cuticle to where it look like you need a refill again. But I do make sure I see a little bit of the natural nail, because once I see that little bit of the natural nail, I know that the cuticle area is sealed. Basically, I know that nothing is going to get underneath that nail, because all the acrylic is sealed to the nail. And I'm going in with my 180 file right now, and I'm filing at the nail because I felt either a bump or something. And when you feel a hump or a bump in a nail, I can guarantee you, using your e-file is not going to get that bump out. it is best to go in with your hand file and file until you get the bump out, and then once you get the bump out, you go back in with the e-file and smoothing out the nail. And I'm going to do that a lot with a lot of these nails because this is my first time doing nails this long. So when I was placing my beads of acrylic, it wasn't the best or the smoothest application. But you live and you learn, and you get better with practice. So I repeat those same steps over and over. I file at the nail trying to smooth it out, and then I go around the cuticle and file until I see a little bit of the natural nail, not too much. And if I have a bump in the nail, I go in with my hand file and I file the bump out, and I go back in with the e-file to smoothing the nail out. As you can see, I'm going in and placing more beads of acrylic onto the nail, and that is because as I filed the nail, I realized that I had a dip in the nail, and you cannot file a dip out of the nail. You gotta fill in the dip with more acrylic. So I'm just going in and putting some acrylic where I found dips, and I found dips on the middle finger and the thumb. So I placed my acrylic there just to follow the dips, and you know, you don't want to place too much acrylic. You just want to make it to where the dip is no longer there. And after I added the acrylic in, I went to the other nail and filed. I went to the other hand and filed that hand, and then I came back and finished the filing of these nails. And I did that to make sure that the acrylic was dried, because you don't want to file that with acrylic. So I filed that, and after I finish all the filing, you ask the person to go either wash their hands or you wipe off all of this with a alcohol wipe, and then you proceed to the polishing. As you can see, going based on the title, this is just part 1 of me doing this set, and that is because I didn't want this video to be too long. So part 2 is me doing the polish and designs on the nails, and of course I will be posting part 2 soon, not too long after I post this part. Thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to like, possibly comment, and possibly subscribe.